Hello everyone, and welcome to Sprue Review. My name's Violet Sun, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Questoris Knights from Games Workshop for Adeptus Titanicus. This adorably scaled kit contains 3 knights sized to fit in with the Titans available for Adeptus Titanicus. They are the same shape as the ones for 40k, but just much smaller. Let's start off by taking a look at the box. Now, I mentioned the 40k scaled version of these knights, and I've got a feeling that's what we're looking at on the front of the box. The details just look far too fine for the tiny scaled knights that you get in this box, but that's kind of okay. It's still just an advertisement for the miniatures, and you don't get a load of flaming ruins in the box either, so it's a bit of artistic license. I really like the graphics on this box. The decision to go for the sort of orangey, fiery background contrasting the green knights. The really nice Adeptus Titanicus logo, but the rest of it being quite simple. It's really effective, really makes the knights look cool, which is kind of the purpose of the box, is to make the minis look desirable. Now the back side, you actually see what you're getting. A picture of an actual Titanicus scaled knight. As you can see, the details are very much different compared to the 40k ones on the front, but I think this is a nice little representation of the model, and gives you an idea that you get all the different weapon options, and there's a little bit of painting advice, although with knight houses, obviously you can kind of go wild and do whatever you want with the knights. They're very varied in colour scheme. Overall, I think it's a good box. It made me want to buy these minis, and I did buy them, so it did its job. I think it would have been a little bit more honest to put the Titanicus scale knights on them on the front rather than the 40k scale ones, but as I say, maybe give Games Workshop a little pass on that one. With that inspection of the box completed, let's have a look at what you get inside. Compared to previous reviews of single miniatures, there's an absolute cornucopia of stuff in this box. A nice set of waterslide transfers, or decals if you're in the US. Just simple black and white ones, but some nice little details on there to add to your miniatures if you have the patience to get them on there. Set of 3 40mm bases, one for each model. And of course, the instructions and the sprue itself. We're going to take a look at the instructions first, and then we'll dive into the sprue. The instructions are a fairly large booklet. It's only in black and white, but luckily the instruction steps are quite clear. The large size really helps in spotting the little tiny details, and so you recognise the parts correctly. There are 1 or 2 steps that I think are a little confusing. There's kind of 2 different poses of legs, and you can see people getting parts mixed up and confused between the 2 of them. It's very important to follow the instructions closely on those and check using the right part numbers, as otherwise you could end up with some issues, I think. Each knight is about 20 to 25 parts. There's a bit of variance depending on which arms and weapons you go for. Some of them, like the melee fist, pictured down here, is obviously only a single piece. Whereas something like rapid fire battle cannon or thermal cannons are much more complicated to put together, although still only 4 pieces for each arm. does obviously change the part count. With so many weapon options in the kit, there's this page here to give you some officially sanctioned variants of the Knights. I'm not entirely sure if you have to do this for the game. Obviously, it's going to depend slightly on your opponent as to whether they want your Knights to be 100% what you see is what you get. But and with Chaos Knights, I think you're more likely to have a bit of mix of weapons. It's good to have some clear advice at least. The back of the instruction booklet is the same as the front. Just some black and white pictures of some knights. There's no painting advice on this in the booklet. So you're kind of at your own device to either look up a knight house that you want to copy or make up your own. This instruction booklet is a bit bare bones, but it's functional. I like that they've gone for a bigger booklet to more clearly illustrate some of the pieces. But yeah, it feels like they sort of skimped on. They could have included a little bit of painting advice, at least for one knight house, if not a couple of them. So let's take a closer look at the sprue, or should I say the main sprue, because there is in fact a little extra on sprue as well. We'll take a look at this one first. Obviously with this kit, building 3 knights, there's quite a lot of duplication of parts. I'm just going to kind of look at one of each rather than looking at all of them, as they are kind of exact copies of each other. Starting off with this top piece, the main armoured cauldrons and top armour of the body. I really love the amount of detail in this. The tiny, tiny little rivets are absolutely minuscule. So much of the detail of the 40k kit, which is many, many times the size of this, it's just so faithfully recreated in this tiny scale. Kind of the other core parts of the main torso are these side pieces where you've got these exhaust stacks with tiny, tiny perforated heat shields and loads of little wires and intricate detail that's most of which you're hardly going to see because it's hidden behind armor plates, but it's really cool that it's included in a kit like this. The rest of the torso pieces are kind of here. At the very back with some power core pieces and heat sinks and radiators. And then on this piece you've got the front of the chest, a little auto banner, and just the armor plates of the front of the torso. Now it wouldn't be an on-sprue review if we didn't take a look at some long leggies. Here we've got one set of left and right legs and the hips to join them together and to the torso. Now these are kind of fixed to one pose, and this is where there's not a lot of interchangeability, at least not easily in this kit. Mostly because of the way the loincloth banner and these pipes work. You could interchange legs and end up with more than the 3 poses intended, but you're going to have to do some other replacement or conversion work on these to make them meet up from the middle of the hip piece to the legs. If you're not worried about those little details, then you can definitely easily get a bunch more poses out of these models. And to go on the front of the legs are these tiny little armour panels. Again, very, very minuscule detail, far exceeding what you get on a 40k kit. I don't think anything in the 40k range has detail as fine as this. And of course, on the other of the legs, you've got to have the feet. They've got these cruciform feet for each knight. These are kind of flat. I would have liked to have seen at least one pose in more of a walking stance. But with a little bit of work, you can really do a little mod on the toes to give a little bit more energy to these knights. And the weaponry is kind of spread out between the sprue and the supplementary one. But I want to take a little look at each weapon. This chainsword, which would on the 40k model is absolutely enormous, this almost the size of a tank, is kind of rendered in really small scale and looks really adorable in comparison to the 40k version. But it's how much detail is included. Even the chain teeth look pretty good. You get quite a lot of small weapons to attach onto the chest of the knights. These tiny little heavy stubbers with really intricate detailing, even the little magazine of solid shot rounds. And the alternative option is this tiny little melter weapon here. You also get staples. The knight classes, the rapid fire battle cannon, Avenger Gatling cannon, a Flamestorm cannon. These are all come in multiple pieces just to get more detail onto them. The second sprue is much smaller, comprising mostly of power fists and some missile pods for the top of the knights, as well as some alternative heads. I believe this was originally kind of an accessory kit that was sold separately, so it's nice to see it instead bundled in with the main sprue, just so you've got all of the options, all of the toys to play with right out of the box. Do really love the alternative heads, the really scully version, quite knightly one, and one that almost looks like it's got kind of a crown built into its fascia plate. Very, very nice little details to make your knights all a little bit unique. The missile pods too are absolutely packed full of detail. You know, the time missiles, the exhaust ports on the back for all the back blasts from the rocket motors, and the little armoured pods themselves. Just so much detail in this kit. Now obviously this is a sprue meant to build 3 entire models, but it's packed with rather a lot of parts. And not only that, you've got a sub-sprue of even more optional parts. I don't feel like this is a kit for a beginner. It's definitely a more advanced model, and quite, I would feel, almost a premium plastic product. I wouldn't say it's going to be quite as difficult as some of the resin kits to put together, just because you've the sort of fitment issues that can come with resin. But it is definitely more advanced than building a kit of, say, Primaris Space Marines. I've built a few Titanicus kits, mostly Titans, although I have built a box of Adeptus Knights, which seem very similar in construction to these. Very similar parts breakdown, just taller and with different weapon options. These kits are definitely aimed at pushing skill as a modeler. There's a lot finer detail, a lot more, and lots of very small parts. They do look fantastic when you get them together, but it is a lot more challenging, and sometimes that's good. I think it's good to have a go at something a little more different, a little bit out of your usual, to learn new skills. These in my to-do pile for a little while, and I need to get around to them. But I think they're going to be a fun kit. I'm not going to do too much with them. I might do some modifications to get some different leg poses, but other than that, I think it's a pretty solid kit. Really nice rendition of what has become quite a classic knight. It's been around for quite a long time now, but in a very nice little model. If you've bought this kit and done something interesting with it, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I've definitely seen some really interesting conversions based on these models, and I think they've got quite a lot of potential to be kit bashed with 40k stuff as well. I hope this video looking at this model has been useful. If it has, if you could drop a like, that would be much appreciated. If you want to see more reviews, quite a few on my channel already, and I do post every Saturday. And as always, happy hobbying.